Shalom. All praises to the Most High. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Shalom to the elect. All right. As you know by now, today is Thursday, November the 28th. Okay, which many of our people celebrate and is known as Thanksgiving. All right, which is why I'm prompt to do this lesson, and it's titled "No Common Grounds." Happy Thanksgiving. All right, no common grounds. All right, because when you are on the same, playing field or on the same common grounds, that what that breeds, uh, that breeds or allows, one person to what try to supersede another person, man. All right, so to avoid all that, no common grounds. And who am I speaking on? I'm referring to these so-called Christians, okay? Because just like they coming in today saying, let's, come on common ground, something where we can agree upon and, make weight the same way they did back then, okay? They were known as pilgrims back then, all right? Colonists, okay? And the Native Americans, primarily they go by the name of Gad, Reuben, Simeon, not Simeon, but Gad and Reuben, you know, they thought to seek common grounds, okay? They thought to help those pilgrims, those settlers as they were, and show them how to what? Cultivate the land, how to fish, how to navigate the harsh, New England weather, climate. And what did they get in return? They got what? A war, okay? Because why? They didn't want to accept a form of Christianity, man. And that's what these Christians, so-called Christians, are still doing to this day. They're just colonizing you under another name and calling it Christianity, okay? Because if you don't accept their Christianity, then what did they tell you? You're going to hell, you're going to burn forever, okay? What kind of so-called God is that would allow you to burn for eternity, all right? But this is the madness they push when you try to seek common grounds with them. That's why there's no common grounds, okay? Because the last common grounds that happened, well, should I say the first common grounds that happened coming over here to the New World was what? The settlers, or you call them pilgrims, they what? Backstabbed the Native Americans, man, okay? Man, children, and women, all right? So there's no common grounds in this truth, man, all right? Stand on what you believe and stand on it firmly, all right? Because if not, anyone can sway you to go left or right and cause you to be, unalive, all right? Now, it's ultimately the Heavenly Father who sanctioned it, but by you disobeying his laws, statutes, and commandments, he allowed the wicked to do just that, use the sword, okay? And we're coming into that time again, all right? Well, that massacre that happened back then is going to look like a walk in the park compared to this one that's coming up, all right? Known as Jacob's Trouble, man, all right? So let's get a few precepts and let's go from there, all right? So let's open up in oldie but goodie, Amos, okay? Let's go to Amos. Let's go to Amos 5 and Amos 5 and 21. It reads, I despise your feast days, and I would not smell in your solemn assemblies, okay? And this goes into, when we were just, sinning and making sacrifices and trying to keep the Sabbath, but knowing good and well that we were sinning on purpose, man. And Yahweh was like, that's not good enough for me anymore, okay? And today, the same way, man. We trying to learn the ways of the heathens, man. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, all these assemblies that you come together under, the Most High, he ain't with it. He's not even there. Matter of fact, he says he hates them, okay? So Thanksgiving is a day of hatred, man. The Most High doesn't, recognize you sitting at the table, with your so-called loved ones under the guidelines or banner of, uh, family holidays, man. That's not according to the Bible, man. You don't see Thanksgiving in the Bible. On the contrary, you see why people was, slaughtered, man. All right? We're going to talk about that a little bit today. So let's read that again. Amos 5:21. It reads what? I despise your feast days, and I would not smell in your solemn assemblies. So your Christmas, your birthdays, anything outside of this word, the Most High hates, man. Okay, because why? That's you going on into your own understanding. All right? And it tells us to lean not on our own understanding. All right? Everything we need has already been laid out for us in this Bible, including our salvation. All right? So if you go and, do as our Native American brothers did and trust thy enemy and look to seek common ground, then you have no one to blame but yourself. Okay, when that sword gets turned up, man. All right. If you go off and to seek common ground and get slaughtered, you have no one to blame but yourself, because you've been warned numerous of times. Okay. You've been warned numerous of times and you didn't take heed, man. So what more can we do, man? We told you to repent, told you to turn back to the Heavenly Father, and it wasn't good enough for you. All right. You wanted to go sit down at the table and try to find some kind of common ground with the enemy. And when all hell breaks loose, that same common ground that you look to seek from the enemy, he's gonna turn you in, man. He's gonna turn you in. He know your whereabouts. He know everything about you, because why? You tried to seek love. You tremendous your ways to seek love. Okay. And that's going to be your downfall, man, because you put your trust in man studying this word, okay? Never trust thy enemy. Let's hit it. This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, also known as Sirach, chapter 12. Let's start at verse 9. Ecclesiasticus 12:9. It says, "In the prosperity of a man, enemies will be grieved, but in his adversity, even a friend will depart." Right. So we have to find the hard way, because why? Look at that gator out there. Not to cut the feed. All right, so going into Ecclesiasticus 12:9, it reads, "In the prosperity of a man, enemies will be grieved." Right. So when you doing well, man, your enemies don't like that. They're grieving. Okay. It says, but in his adversities, even a friend will depart. Right. But when you down and you seem to not be able to, got to keep on that gator, just in case he try to come up out of that water and come up on this land. Just like those settlers, man. Never trust thy enemy, man. You see, the Native Americans saw the pilgrims coming on land, like this gator's approaching, and what did they do, man? They went up to them and opened up and greet them with open arms. And what did the pilgrims do? They did just like that gator gonna do. If you get close to him, he's gonna what? He's gonna bite your damn head off, man. And we're gonna read that part here. You see how he's getting closer and closer. So I may have to vacate this spot if I hear some woods, you know, uh, moving and stuff like that. So never trust thy enemy, man. You think that gator, if he had a chance, wouldn't like to take a piece or do a death roll on you? Just like those, just like those settlers, man. They was waiting to get a hold to the Indians, the so-called Indians, man, so-called Native Americans. They just had to what? Gain their trust, like that gator. He's slowly but steadily creeping, man. And that's just how those settlers played the Native Americans. Why? Because the Native Americans, you know, so-called Native Americans, the Israelites, they didn't trust the word of Yahweh, man. And he allowed that gator, those pilgrims, those settlers to come and do work, man. So we got to keep, you know, a steady eye. And we got to be circumspect, man. All right? Never trust thy enemy, okay? You see that gator? You got to keep an eye on your enemy. You want to keep him as far as possible away from you, man. Sitting down, looking to, you know, find common grounds is like sitting down at a table with a gator, all right? It ain't good, man. So it reads, in the prosperity of a man, enemies will be grieved, but in his adversity, even a friend will depart. Verse 10, never trust thy enemies. Okay? You have to first know who your enemies are, man. And it gives you a list in the book of Psalms, chapter 83. And the first one they name is Amalekite, okay? The 1948ers that's posing as us in our land, which are Edomites, man. Never trust thy enemy. The number one enemy is Esau Edom, the so-called white man. So if you trust him like those, like our brothers from the north, the Northern Kingdom, the Native Americans did, then you have no one else to blame but yourself, okay? So it says, never trust thy enemy. For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. And just like that gator out there, given an opportunity or chance, if you go swimming and you don't know he's out there in that lake, and you are, you know, just the size that he can take up under, hey, you think he's not going to react on his natural instincts? Of course he is. And what's Esau Edom natural instinct? To use that sword, okay? That sword was given to him as a blessing by our forefather Isaac, man. Okay, and he's getting ready to come down with great wrath, man. All right? He's getting ready to come down with great wrath. Just like that gator dropped down up under the water and stay still and quiet and wait for you to come close to that edge. Guess what? Esau Edom is staying still and he's underwater right now waiting for you to come look for common grounds. As soon as you do, he's going to what? Spring up and go into action and start slaying. Well, guess what? We're vastly approaching that time, and our people, they coming closer and closer to the edge of that water. And that gator is just waiting, man. All in the pretense of common ground. Okay? Look at him. You see? Look at him. He's just out there waiting. He already know his capabilities, man. That's his grounds, okay? That's where he's at home out there, man. If you dare venture out there, you know, to go get a bath or a swim, guess who's going to be waiting for you? The gator, okay? Just like if you dare venture out of this word, this truth, well, guess who's going to be waiting for you? Esau Edom, man, okay? He's waiting. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. He don't care if it's Thanksgiving. He don't care if it's Christmas. He don't care if it's New Year's, man. He got one mission on his mind. That's to eat. That's that devouring lion, man. All right? So you can use subtlety all you want, but you cannot get the elect, okay? So you got to go back under that water, man, and try, man. There you go, just disappear under the water. All right? So back to the lesson, man. Because the Most High, Yahweh will put that gator there just for part of the lesson, man. You see how the Most High work, man? I've been here a few times, never seen a gator in my life, man, out here. And all of a sudden, this lesson, you know, hey, give all praises to the Most High. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, man. Okay, he put that gator out there, man, to show you, man, there is no common grounds with this man, all right? You got more luck with having common grounds with a damn beast, an alligator, than you do with Esau Edom, man, all right? But you Jake's gonna come to realize that in the most harsh and brutal way, man, all right? And rightfully so, okay? Because why? You going against the word of the Heavenly Father by what? Trusting your enemy, looking for common ground, all right? You can't find common ground with this enemy, man, all right? So it says, verse 10, never trust thy enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Just like you can bank and count on iron rusting, you can count on Esau Edom being wicked, man. You can't count on him coming to common grounds and telling you the truth, telling you that you're the Israelite, telling you that he's an Edomite. What purpose would that serve of him telling you the truth, man? He's not put here to tell you the truth or to try to come on common grounds. His whole opposition is against this word, man. How is he going to tell you the truth and then keep his kingdom afloat, man? Those are two oxymorons, man. In order for him to keep his kingdom going, he has to tell you lies, man. That's how his kingdom was established, on lies, okay? But by the truth, it's going to get torn down, which is this word. So Ecclesiasticus 12 and 11 says, though he be humble, so like Ecclesiasticus 12 and 11, though he humble himself, so just like the pilgrims came to the Native Americans, they didn't think nothing of it. They seen them coming off the shore, looking, you know, not as a threat, looking probably malnutritious and feeble, and they came humble with their heads down to the Native Americans, you know, which caused the Native Americans to what? Lower their guard and look for common grounds. And what happened? It says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed. Okay? Once again, let's go back to Mr. Gator, man. Though he seems, you know, complacent, and he seems, you know, he's just out there fixated on whatever he's doing, you throw something in that damn water and watch how he react, man. That's his dinner bell, okay? You throw something in that water or you come close and you gonna see how fast he react, man. Well, that's Esau Edom. Though he humble himself and go crouching, take heed, okay? Take heed, man, all right? Because trust it, he's waiting. He's ready to spring into action, man. Make no mistake about it. That's his whole duty, man. His whole duty is to what? Get ready for this action, man, okay? You think he just got that sword for nothing and it's going away with? No, the Most High is going to use him, and that sword is going to be his blessing, man, okay? So I'm watching my steps out here, making sure I don't do nothing to trigger anything that could be up here, but you see him. Though he come humble and crouching himself, take heed, okay? Because he's just out there laying, and you don't know. It may be many more of them out there, all right? This lake could be full of them, all right? So you got to take heed, man. Stay your ass on dry land, okay? Stay your ass on dry land, which is this truth, man. You go out there and try to look for common ground in Esau Edom's land, man. You got no one to blame but yourself, man, okay? Let me check the feed. Right. Gotta keep your eye out here in Florida, man. So it says, though he humble himself and go crouching. Yet take good heed and beware of him. Right? Because what is he going to do? He's going to tell you that he's coming in your best interest, that he wants to just come and just sit at the table and find just some type of common ground that we can build on and put this hatred away. That's those words that were smoother than butter, but what? War was in his heart, man. Let's go there. Psalms 55 and 21. It reads, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. That gator right there, man, it's instinctually in him to what? Be a predator, have predatorial tendencies, strike, react, and then think about it. He's not thinking about who is this or what is this. He's going to strike first, okay? And then ask questions later. But by that time, you may be through. So it says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were salted in oil, yet were they drawn swords, right? Which is why I deemed him the snake oil salesman, man, because he could sell you anything. But in actuality, he's selling you a what? A one-way ticket to, 6 feet under, man. Okay? That's what he's selling you, man. And if you buy it, that's on you, man. Because why? We've been telling you, never trust this enemy. Never trust this Edomite, man. Okay? If you do, it's on you. You got a better chance in going and swimming across that lake than sitting at the table with an Edomite looking for common grounds in this truth, man. They're never going to tell you who they are. They're never going to tell you who you are. They're never going to tell you the true names. They may say it, but they're never going to tell you that's the true names. Why would they? Everything they have relies on you being in the dark, man. That's why being drawn to this marvelous light is an honor, man. And in doing so, you have to know you have to protect this, man. And sitting at the table like some Israelites do with the enemy talking about Bible is useless, man. Except for clicks, likes, and subscribes, man. Okay, to up their followers to get more money. But outside of, defending the truth, it's not beneficial, man. Because they're never going to change their position, and we're never going to change our position. We are the people of the Bible, and they're the enemies, man. All right? There's no common ground with that, okay? So it's useless. It's futile, man. It's a movie, man. Pretty good size one, too. That's why you got to keep your children from off the shoreline and your pets, man. When you down here in Florida, man, okay, you got to keep your children from the shorelines and your pets because you never know what's lurking, man. So if you don't take, heed and you let your little ones get too close to the shoreline, guess what? They're going to be snatched up, man. All right? They're going to be snatched up. So you can continue to, discredit it all you want. But one thing you have to find out and realize, hey, coming into this truth, that's your best bet, man, okay? There's security with this, okay? Knowing the enemy's move, all right? Knowing how you have to move in this time, okay? If not, you're going to get snatched up, man, right off the shoreline, coming too close, okay? Especially nowadays, you give your child a smartphone, a tablet, they ain't looking, you ain't looking, your head in your ass, you got your hand on the phone texting, little Billy's close to the edge of the water. Next thing you know, little Billy is snatched up, man. And you turn back and look, and you calling his name, and you looking through the bushes and trying to find him, and guess what? You can't find him. And then all of a sudden, you see in the middle of the lake, splash going. And you see a head pop up, and you see that gator, and it's too late, man. But guess what? Same thing happened to our brothers in the north, the Northern Kingdom, man. They got too close to that shoreline, because why? They perceived that gator as just far out, and they thought that they could come close to the shoreline and, do whatever it is they do, gather water, take a bath, and next thing you know, all that commotion and splashing triggered that gator predatory instincts, and he took him up under, man. All right? There's no common grounds for this truth, man. All right? No common grounds. All right? You got to keep your head on the swivel. All right? Ephesians 5:15. See that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. What? Redeeming the time, because why? The days are evil. All right? There's danger lurking around every corner, man. Seeking common grounds from the so-called Christianity, the Christians, so-called Muslims, so-called Buddhism. That's all danger, man. No good, no bueno in the Spanish, okay? So there's no common grounds outside of this truth, man, all right? There's no common grounds, all right? So Psalms 55:21, it reads, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. That's exactly what they was doing. They came crouching and humbling, and they knew right when they were on land, they were going to attack the so-called Native Americans, man. That's what they came over here to do. They came over here to settle, okay, to settle on this land. They heard it was, you know, they heard this land was, you know, very, very fertile, and the Native Americans had cultivated it, and they wanted to come over here to what? Get the reap the rewards of the Native Americans, okay? And that's exactly what they did. They came humbling and crouching as if to pose no threat, all right? But guess what? You know it, you heard it, the Pequot War. Matter of fact, let's go there. That's where the image of this thumbnail comes from, the Pequot War. Let's read a little bit about it. Because this was after the first Thanksgiving, okay? You would think the pilgrims and the settlers will be, you know, very appreciative of all the work that the Native Americans did to get them through their first harsh winter. But how did they reward them? By waging war, okay? That was the first biological war, okay? Was done by what? The settlers, the pilgrims on to what? The Native Americans, because what? They used the tactics of what they call now mpox. They put it on the blankets knowingly and gave it to the Native Americans as a sign of peace. Okay? The settlers knowingly gave the Native Americans blankets from infected people with the pox and gave it to the Native Americans because why? The Native Americans had no, up until that time, exposure with outside world, man. Okay, they came over here from the old world and came over here to the new world. They was the first ones over here to dwell. Okay, now you had other missions that came over here to collect stuff, but the Native Americans were the first to come over here to dwell. All right, so they had no contact with the outside world at that time. And what did Esau Edom do? He sought to seek that by infecting them with the what? The pox, okay? With blankets filled with infected people who had that, and he gave it to them, okay? That was the first form of biological warfare here on the grounds of, you know, so-called United States of America, man. That's why this place has to pay, man, okay? So back to the Pequot War. The Pequot War, let's go into it, okay? It says the Pequot War was an armed conflict that took place in 1636 and ended in 1638 in New England between the Pequot tribe and an alliance of the colonists from the Massachusetts Bay, Plymouth, and Saybrook colonies and their allies from Narconet and Mohegan tribes. The war concluded with the decisive defeat of the Pequot. At the end, about 700 Pequots had been killed or taken into captivity. Hundreds of prisoners were sold into slavery to colonists in Bermuda or the West Indies. Other survivors was dispersed as captives to the victorious tribes. So here it is, you got one sect of Edomites putting the battery and Native Americans on this side, and you got another set of Edomites putting a battery and Native Americans over here on this side to what? Conflict and come into war with each other. So what? They can sell them off into islands, okay? Because contrary to popular belief, man, Wall Street was built off of slaves, man. That's where they got the first, idea of trading goods, man. Okay, the stock market is loosely based off of trading, man. Okay, it's an index of all type of commodities, all right? And people back then being the number one commodity. So they would what? Sell these other Native Americans to other parts of the earth. They would be trading slaves back and forth. This was the first Wall Street, a stock commodity, where I got this type of slave that can pick cotton, and you got this type of slave that's good for picking tobacco. Well, how about we switch, okay? And then the stock market just adapted that and put it into the what? The New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ, which is what? A basket or a collection of index with different type of companies, okay? Traded globally. Well, slavery was the first form of that, all right? Where they traded different types of slaves back then, all right? And they were shipping slaves from the Americas to the West Indies to parts of Brazil, all over the place, man. Slave was the business of slavery was booming back then, man. Okay, it didn't just start with us coming off the boat back in 1619 either, man. Okay, slavery was business back then. All right. So it says 700 peacocks have been killed or taken into captivity. Hundreds of prisoners were what? Were sold into captivity, okay? Hundreds of prisoners were sold into slavery to colonists. So like I said, you had colonists down in Bermuda, man, okay? You understand why this man has to be taken out, man. You had colonists down there in Bermuda doing the same thing they had done here in the Americas. And we're like, what? Hey, we got slaves down here in the Bermuda that's good for picking, this and that. You got slaves up there. Let's switch back and forth, man. Okay? And this is all under the banner or guidelines of so-called Christianity. Same thing today, man. That's why they talk about make America great again. They wanted to go back to those days where Christianity was the number one choice of weapon, man. Okay, before they actually had to use the sword. They want you to be docile like a sheep and take their form of Christianity and, adhere to it. And if not, they're going to use the sword. Okay, but the only thing different from this time and that time is we got the names of the Heavenly Father and the only begotten Son, man. And you Edomites, you going down, man. And you know it, okay? So you could try to, use your mystic, make America great again, make it a God country. It never was a God country from its roots, from its foundation. It was all based on lies, man, okay? Even to this day. So there will be no more common grounds. There will be no common grounds at all, man. All right? So it goes on to say, I'm going to type in something else and show you that blanket pox, if I can say that without them, taking it down. But hey, we're going to speak the truth, man. Give me 1 second to look it up. Okay, it says blanket pox refers to the historical practice of European colonists, particular British soldiers, giving blankets infected with the small, pox to Native American tribes. So I stand correct. It wasn't monkey, it was smallpox, man. This was a form of biological war, man. They would deliberately give infected blankets with smallpox to the indigenous people, the Native Americans, okay? The so-called Native Americans, because we know they're Israelites. It says, essentially using the D word DISEASE, as a weapon to decimate their populations during conflicts. A horrific a horrific act considered a form of biological war, man. Warfare. You see? If you trust the enemies, this is what you get, man. You get deception. Okay? You get that gator just watching. Okay? Swimming off. That's why you got to keep your eye on them, man. You got to keep your eye on that enemy, man. Okay? Though he come humbling and crouching, what? Take good heed, okay? Because he's going off that way, but he could just be coming back to circle around and come back on the shore, man. You got to always keep your eye on that enemy, man. Be sober. That's why we tell you to watch, man. Okay? You got to stay watching. You take your eye off him for a second, next thing you know, he on your ass, all right? You take your eye off for a second, and he's on your ass, man, all right? We in a time where, hey, you can't go to sleep, man. We in a time where if you trying to be complacent and look for common grounds, guess what? You dinner, you on the menu, man. And he gonna hit you something with way worse than the blanket pox, okay? He's coming with that sword, man. Of course, there's gonna be, pestilence and famines and, teeth of wild beasts. Everything is on the table, man. And this is all being orchestrated by the will of the Heavenly Father, man. All right? So going back to, let's go back to Ecclesiasticus, because we ain't through with that chapter yet. This is Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12. And where were we at? Ecclesiasticus 12 and 11, it says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. That's why we tell y'all people to be sober, man. Okay? If you're looking for common ground, he's already luring you into a false sense of security, man. So it says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass. And thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away. Right? Because you're going to see that rust in that looking glass, man. You look in there, you're going to see it still got rust on it, man. No matter how well he try to hide it, man. You're going to see that rust. Okay? You're going to see that wickedness. All right? You're going to see it. Okay? But you can't if you're looking for common grounds, man. If you're looking for common grounds to sit at the table with the enemy, you can't see through the looking glass. You can't see that rust, man. All right? Verse 12. Set him not by thee. Okay? See? If the so-called Native Americans would have took this, advice and set not by him and let him just came over here and figured it out on his own, man, and perish, they would have been all right. But what happened, man? They trust and lean on their own understanding. They saw a helpless looking creature come on the shores, getting kicked out from Britain, coming over here, looking to, settle. And what do? They helped them. And it says what? Set him not by thee. Don't sit at the table, okay? Don't let him sit at your table, all right? And that's what they do under this thing of Thanksgiving. Everybody sit around the table, have a ham in the middle of the table, and give thanks of what and give praise to what they're thankful for, man. Trying to emulate what happened back then in the first Thanksgiving. And it says what? Set him not by thee. Don't even allow him to come in to your dwelling place, man. It says, set him not by thee, Ecclesiasticus 12 and 12. When he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Right. And now look, he done overthrow the Native Americans. He done stood up in their place. He done called this land after him. He done uh, he done revert them to living on a little piece of a ground. I forgot what they call it, reservation. Here it is. The Native Americans had this whole country, and now look what they reduced to: living on a damn piece of land, a small piece at that, known as a reservation. Okay, the ghetto. See, this is what happened when you let them sit by thee. They're gonna stand up and take your place. They're gonna stand up and take your land. They're gonna stand up and take everything, and give you nothing to little. Okay. It says, neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And look what happened. We got the advent of the United States of America. Why? Because the so-called Native Americans let those pilgrims, those settlers, those colonists come over here and sit at their right hand. You see? Instead of letting them find out the hard way. Let them go out there and find that those berries you can't eat. Those waters you can't tread in. You should have let them figure it out the hard way, man. But no, you went and you trusted your emotions, your feelings. You didn't look to seek and see what Yahweh said, okay? And this is the main reason why they left Assyria to come over here to the Americans, that they may serve the commandments. But what happened? They came over here, they got complacent, they forgot the names, okay? All right? They started going and doing things on their own, started creating their own gods and idols, all right? And what happened? The Most High sent them a fierce nation from afar, man, which is what? Them Edomites, okay? Them Edomites was sent because the Northern Kingdom came over here and started sinning, man, okay? Make no mistake about it. The Most High sent those Edomites here to come punish the Native Americans, the so-called Native Americans, all right? Just like he did to us, the Southern Kingdom. By what? Sending us by the way of the transatlantic slave trade over here. But it all had to be fulfilled so prophecy could be fulfilled. Because this is the land, the United States of America, where all 12 tribes are at, man. And this is why this is going to be the greatest deliverance ever. It's going to make, when we came out of Egypt that first time, look like nothing, man. This exodus of us leaving out of America is going to make that first Egypt look like nothing. This spiritual Egypt is going to make the physical Egypt that we got delivered out of look like nothing, man. Jeremiah 16, right around verses 14, 15, and 16, okay? So it says, verse 12, neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou at the last remember my words, and be pricked therewith. So we were told to remember these words, man. And here it is, 2024. Our people has forgotten those words again, man. Well, not the elect, okay? Which is that small remnant. They remembering. Because why? They're remembering themselves. But even within those that are waking up, they're somehow forgetting that. Because why? They are enamored or in awe with the views, with the money that they can get. And they are like, the hell with it, man. Okay? We can justify certain things by going into the scriptures. Okay? But they can't. Because they can't justify wickedness, man. They can't justify the reward of the wicked. All right? And that's what they're trying to do by having and sitting down and breaking bread, all in the name of trying to find a common ground, man. It's never going to happen, man. It's never going to happen with this Edomite, man. He wasn't meant to reveal the truth, man. We have to reveal the truth and expose who he is, man. All right? Let's go there, man, because you got to be weary of some of these, Israelites that's claiming to be in the truth, but their actions don't match their actions don't match their deeds, man. Right? Sitting at the table with the enemy for the sake of finding a common ground. Nah, man. Watch out for them. They'll take you to verses like this. Isaiah. They'll take you to verses like Isaiah 1 and verse 18. And if you don't know no better, you'll, fully be persuaded. It says, come now and let us reason together. See? It says, come now and let us reason together so we can come with our enemies, and try to find some type of common ground in this truth, man, that we could probably make leeway with. Well, it isn't talking about our enemies. As we're going to read, it says, Isaiah 1 and 18, come now and let us reason together, saith Yahweh. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool. Right. This is to the Israelites, man. All right. Being reconciled back into the Father, man. Okay. Let us reason. Let us repent. Let us turn back from our wicked ways, that our sins may be what? As scarlet. Though they be red like crimson, they should be as wool. Okay, white. Okay, this is for the Israelites, because when you go back up to verse 1, Isaiah 1 and 1, it says the vision of Isaiah, the son of Amos, which he saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem, the southern and the northern, in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah. Okay? And it says, Isaiah 1 and 9, it says, except Yahweh of hosts had left unto us a very small remnant, we should have been as Sodom, and we should have been like unto Gomorrah. So even within Israel, Yahweh isn't dealing with all. Okay, on this side, he's only dealing with the elect, that small remnant. Okay, who's not going to reason and seek common grounds with the enemy, man. Knowing the dire consequences. Okay, knowing that they can hit you with that blanket smallpox. All right, knowing they gonna do something just like that. And then they're going to come with the sword when that don't work, all right? They got a saying, when all else fail, take them to war, man. They coming with that sword. Make no mistake about it. That's Esau's blessing, man. Why wouldn't he use it in his last hoorah before his kingdom gets taken out? He's going to. So never trust thy enemy. Happy Thankskilling, man. That's what happened the last time, or should I say the first time, that our people trust the enemies, man. Those pilgrims, those settlers, those colonists, they got slaughtered, man. Because why? They went off and did their own thing. They said they would come over here and keep the commandments, but what happened? After a while, they started, forgetting the name of the Lord, doing their own thing, making idols to their own selves. The same thing that they said they wouldn't do back there in Assyria. Matter of fact, let's go there and read it. This is 2nd Ezra. 13 and verse 2nd Ezra 13, and let's start at verse 40. It says, 2nd Ezra 13 and 40 says, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea, the king, whom Salmanasar, the king of Assyria, led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. Right. Verse 41. 2nd Ezra 13 and 41. But they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country, whether never mankind dwelled. So after they were taken captive by Salmanasar, the king of Assyria, they sought to go further where no man never dwelt before, which is these Americas, which is the America. And what did it say? It says, but they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. Verse 42, that they might keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land, right? Because under the captivity of Assyrians, the northern kingdom wasn't permitted to keep their statutes, the law, statutes, and commandments. So what did they do? They left the heathens and went further and came to this land, the Americas, where never no man dwelt before, where they could what? Keep the statutes, the commandments, and the laws. It says, verse 42, 2nd Ezra 13 and 42, that they might keep, that they might there keep their statutes which they never kept in their own land. Verse 43, 2nd Ezra 13 and 43, and they enter into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. For the Most High then shewed signs for them, and held still the flood till they were passed over. So the Most High opened up and held back the floods to allow the northern kingdom to come over here to these lands, man. Okay? And it took them roughly a year, all right? And then once they got over here, what happened? All right? They kept the commandments for a while, and then after a while, they started, going off into their own thing, doing their own thing, man. Okay? They started to forget who the Lord was, man. They started not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Okay? And what happened? Deuteronomy 28 and 29. Let's read it. Deuteronomy 28. Slakia. Deuteronomy 28 and 29. The curses hit them. Okay? Because we all as a nation are up under these curses up until Yahushua comes back. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 29. Deuteronomy 28 and 29. Salakia. Deuteronomy 28 and 49. It says, Yahweh shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. When those Native Americans came over here speaking that language, okay, it's like you. When those pilgrims, those settlers came over here speaking that language to the Native Americans, the so-called Native Americans, they didn't understand what they were saying, okay? And they came swift as an eagle, man. They came on shores with all their boats, their their ships, the Plymouth, and everything, man. The Native Americans hadn't seen nothing like this, man. And they knew it was over. They knew at that moment it was over with, okay? They knew Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai had sent these Edomites to come over here and do just that, man. And they tried to, show them hospitality to lower their anger, but it didn't help, man. It did not help. All right, they sought to seek to take their seat. They already knew they was coming over here in the name of Cristobal Columbus to claim this new world. Okay, how can you claim something that's already been claimed? How can you discover something that's already been discovered? But that's why they was coming over here. Okay, that's why Cristobal Columbus had a Hebrew interpreter with him, because he knew that the people here in this world, this land, this Americas, they spoke Hebrew. Okay, and which was an insult. They called the guy named Squanto, who was a Native American who interpreted it for them. They called him Squanto, showing you that the prophecies are true. It says that you'll be a byword and a proverb. And I believe his name, or what they thought or deemed his name as, what was it? Tisquantum, or they call him Squanto, okay? Showing you, okay? Just like they call us, so-called blacks or African Americans, they called the Native American interpreter that spoke to them and tried to interpret to them Squanto, okay? So you're going to be a byword and a proverb, pursuing the prophecy, man. That's Deuteronomy 28 and verse 37. It says, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb and a byword among all nations, whether Yahweh shall lead thee. So they deemed this guy, this Native American, this so-called Native American interpreter that showed them how to get through the rush, the harsh and rugged winters. They called him Squanto, but they heard his name was Taquantum, okay? But that wasn't good enough for them. They wanted to put that colonist name on him. Okay, you're going to be Squanto. It's like you. Just like they call them Indians today. And now, if I'm not mistaken, after all that nonsense they went through with changing that football team from Washington Redskins to Washington Commanders, because if it was offensive to the Native Americans, the so-called Native Americans, that's what they called, that's what they claimed. They now, if I'm not mistaken, have switched it back to the Redskins to what? To honor the Native Americans, the so-called Native Americans. Showing you that this hypocrisy of this nation, man, these Edomites, okay? They just making mockery of you, man. They called you Redskins then, they're gonna call you Redskins now, man. All right? You're not gonna, hey, listen up, man. You ain't gonna take this man kingdom from him, man. Okay? He's gonna do whatever he wanna do, whenever he wants to do, until Yahushua comes back. All right? Only thing we doing is prophesying and exposing this man. Okay? No common grounds. All right? That's why it got you taken out in the first Thanksgiving. Happy Thankskilling. All right? And you people gonna sit around the table, you know, and give thanks for what you for on this day, and celebrate a massacre, a mass slaughtering of our people, man. Okay? Of our people. That's what you're actually doing. You're celebrating and exonerating the unaliving of millions of Native Americans, okay, on this day, all right? But you don't care. You got the day off from work, or you getting paid time and a half, you know, you're going to go out and celebrate. Buy that big ham, you know, that stuffing, that dressing. Not to say that anything's wrong, not to say that there's anything wrong with eating that, but you eating it under the guidelines and the principles of this false holiday, man. And you worshiping it. And it tells us in Jeremiah 10 not to learn the ways of the heathens. But what do our people do? They go out and learn the ways of the heathens, and they partake in them. All right? So that's going to be about it, you know. But we're going to close out 1 Peter 5 and 8, man. Because that gate is gone, man. You know, and you got to be sober. You got to watch your surroundings. So if you can't keep your eye on him, you don't know where he's at, man. All right, so let's close out with 1 Peter chapter 5 and verse 8. It's a good one. 1 Peter 5 and 8 says what? Be sober, be vigilant. You got to continue to watch. You got to continue to be sober, man. You don't know how close that gator is to the shoreline, man. You go down there to try to get you a bucket and retrieve some water. Next thing you know, you getting dragged down there and you getting hit with a death roll, man. All right? Be sober, be vigilant. Why? Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. Right? And as that gator, you know, that crocodilian, he looking for anything he can get within striking range. Just like that devouring lion, man. He's looking for anything within striking range. And if you come to the table looking for common grounds, well, guess what? That's striking range. He's sitting right next to you, and he's going to seek to take your seat. All right? But he can't do that now. He's being exposed. He did it. He once did. And to an extent, he still is, but he's not doing that amongst the elect. Okay? Those of us that are fighting to endure to the end. We're watching his ass, man. We got him on our radar. All right? We're measuring the time diligently. Okay? We're being sober. We're being vigilant. We understand the adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion walking about seeking whom he may devour. Okay? And if you're not of the elect, he's going to get that opportunity. All right? And he's going to deliver. He's going to make good on that. Okay? Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, is going to give you over, Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua is going to give you over to him. All right? Because why? You coming too close. You looking for common grounds. So he's gonna give you your heart's desire, man. You want common grounds, but guess what? He's gonna allow you to get that common ground. Happy Thankskilling. Okay? Jacob's trouble. You're gonna get all the common ground you want to. And it's coming. It's fastly approaching, man. All right? So with that being said, I pray someone was edified through this lesson. And until the next time, if it be the Lord's will, stay strong, stay in the faith. We almost home. Shalom. Peace.